Hello everyone, Highlander here from MTG Cardsmith, and we're doing another custom Magic the Gathering card review. Today we're reviewing a card by Hergusbergus. He says this is from a set he's working on, which is designed for constructed EDH. Okay. So let's see what we got here. We got a card called Void Messenger. It's 3 and a colorless for an Elk Horror. With Trample. And whenever a Void Messenger deals combat damage to a player, they mill that many cards. For each creature card milled this way, that player loses 1 life. Okay, let's see. So this card's a little odd looking to me. I mean, first of all... Oh, hold on. I'm back. So I was saying this card's a little odd looking. I suspect that's intentional. We do have a colorless cost. I tend to really not like these unless you're... I mean, if this is like a theme... I basically always say this about the colorless mana requirement. If this is a theme in the set, colorless with the colorless mana requirement, then I think it's okay. But... Or then I have no problem with it, I should say. Not just that it's okay. But I find it very strange on one-off cards. Especially because, like, colorless sources of mana are not, like, super available in a lot of sets. I mean, granted, in Commander, you know, often people play mana rocks, you know, your Mind Stones, things like that. But a lot of those mana rocks also make colored mana, so... So, yeah. Anyway, moving on. The other thing that's kind of odd is the art. I mean, I see the Elk Horror for sure. He's getting, like... It's kind of weird that the Elk Horror is getting chainsawed in his own picture. But the art style is really weird. It almost looks like this is either from a video game or it's like an image, like a picture. It's a little tricky. One thing I do find kind of funny is that this card is colorless and it has a black and white photo, which is kind of humorous, but I wouldn't say it really helps the aesthetic of the card. But you know, those are sort of more minor points. So let's go ahead and look at the design of the cards. This is a 4/3 trample for 4. And this is a pretty tough to cast for in general, so you really got to like build your deck around this. So I mean, a 4/3 trample is a fine card. Then it has this ability here. So whenever it deals combat damage to a player, they mill that many cards. So they mill 4. For each creature card milled this way, their player loses 1 life. So essentially it has the potential to deal additional damage if your opponent is playing a deck. You know, obviously this is better against opponents who are playing decks with creatures in them. Sometimes this will help your opponent because they'll be playing a deck that wants cards in their graveyard. Sometimes... this won't do that much extra damage because they're playing like a spell-heavy deck. They don't have that many creatures, so it's you know, it's a little it's a little variance there, and that's fine. That doesn't really bother me that much. So essentially this is more or less a 4-mana 4/3 trample, but it's hard to cast with potential upside. I mean, overall, it's certainly a fine card. I mean, design-wise, I don't have a huge issue with it. I again, with the caveat of the colorless mana. But I guess my main issues with this card are aesthetic and flavor. So, okay, I understand... it's an Elk Horror. When it hits the player, they mill. That I kind of get, right? Because often milling in Magic is flavored as sort of like a psychological effect, right? Like you're terror or psychological damage of some kind, which makes sense for a horror, right? For each creature card milled this way, that player loses 1 life. That part I don't quite understand. I mean, it's not the end of the world. It's fine. but flavor-wise, I'm not quite sure where that fits in. Uh, the aesthetics of the card, I think, hurt this one a lot for me. I mean, really, the fact that this image is black and white and doesn't really look like it's in a magic like style, and the star of your show here is getting chainsawed in the photo, which is like which is kind of funny, you know. It's like if like, you know, you had like a planeswalker, like let's say Jace the Mind Sculptor. Let's say in the picture of Jace the Mind Sculptor, he just had like an arrow through his chest and he was like dying, you know. It's like it's like, yeah, nice picture of Jace the Mind Sculptor. So yeah, I mean, again, overall fine card. I don't have too much more to say about this one. I'll keep an eye out to see if there's more of the colorless theme. How good is this card? It's fine. It's not. I wouldn't say it's great. I wouldn't say it's bad. If you can support the colorless, it's fine. Especially if you want to mill your opponent for some reason. Yeah, I mean, fine card. Again, it's a little hard to cast, so you really got to build your deck around it. So you would basically play this in a deck that is like a colorless themed beatdown deck, or more likely a colorless themed mill deck, or some combination of the two. So so yeah, I mean, that's kind of my review of Void Messenger. What do I give this card as a rating? The design overall is perfectly fine. I'm going to ignore the colorless mana because I don't know about the rest of the set yet. So I really think the major issues with this card are aesthetic. So I'll give this one a 6 out of 10. It's not a particularly exciting card. It's not particularly unique, but certainly it's a Magic card that I could see existing. I think the art really holds this one back a lot. So yeah, that's what I have to say about Void Messenger. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you next time.